Hello and welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me in another of my videos. Today we're talking about bailiffs, cows and mega pigs. So stay tuned. First of all, bailiffs, we know what it's like when they bang on the door and they start demanding money and you think, hang on a minute, what's this for? And it may be such a minor misdemeanor that it really isn't worth the money that they're demanding, and the whole thing is blown out of proportion. And yet there they are, prepared to threaten you with menaces and take your car away or come into your property and grab your things. Well, that's not right. So it's always good when we get a case which shows actually if you stand up for yourself, sometimes you can defeat these people. Mickey got in touch and he sent me an amusing email, and I thought I would share that with you. So here's our little bit on bailiffs. Let's have a look at this. He says, hello, Rich. I had Marston's the bailiffs turn up on my doorstep yesterday on the 5th of Feb. I suppose technically they are enforcement officers or debt collectors rather than bailiffs, but let's carry on. Demanding £500 fine or clamp my car. My son went through Bristol Clean Air Zone and got fined about 4 months ago. I know what that's like. I went through Bath, didn't know, no signs, no nothing, and yet I got the same, although I didn't end up paying in the end. That's a long story. Several letters went back and forth as my defence was he is new to the area. And what designates a clean air zone? They said a mile away, half a mile away, in fact, anywhere you say. I then said, where's your witnesses? By law, you need to have 3. They dropped the case and sent a letter saying that no further action would be taken. Well done you, Mickey. Only what Bristol Council did was copy a printed signature and sent this letter to Marston's Recovery. A knock on the door from the debt collector from Marston said, £500 or I'll clamp your car. Firstly, I said, you can't clamp any car. Why are you here? He replied to recover the money for the Bristol Council. I said, let me see the stamp and the signature. I told him to F off. There had been no court case and there has been no summons sent to me by the court to defend myself. And number 2, it's a fake seal, you cheating bastard. F off. He tried to tell me the seal was genuine. Once again, it's fake. I said, I know that the case never went to the court to get an order against me and that Bristol Council has sent a letter dropping the case against me anyway. And at that point, he headed to his car very quickly. I've written to Bristol Council calling them lying and cheating scumpots. All the best, Richard, from Mickey. Thank you so much for that. How fascinating. And it's always good when you get a good story. And that's why we want to get over it. It's not all like, you see on YouTube, people being evicted from their houses and these people go and take in a car. That's the ones that always get the views. But the good stories where you push back and you just place your rights and you say, actually, this is fraudulent, this is fake, doesn't get as much coverage as it should. And so that's why I thought it was very important to do so. Now, on a more serious note, not suggesting for a moment that that's not a serious thing, I have had this email from Lorraine, and this is quite worrying. Mark Byford I mentioned it to him, and he's already started to talk about it, which is good news because we need to get this message out. She says, Lorraine says, I wanted to make you aware of this today, as I've been told something that is to say, at least alarming. It would appear that the Satanist wants to do another ritual with our farmers' livestock. There's been a preliminary outbreak assessment on foot and mouth disease. She says, see the PDF attached, which I do have. Hang on, bear with me. Let's get that up on the screen so that we can have a look at that. Here it is. This is a preliminary outbreak assessment, foot and mouth disease, from the 13th of January 2025. Now, this is in Germany. And it's reported that foot and mouth to the World Organization of Animal Health cases in water buffalo in somewhere I can't quite pronounce, and it represents a threat, and it goes on. Situation assessment: foot and mouth disease is a viral infection of cloven-hooved animals, blah blah blah. And we know what happened a few years ago, I think around about 2001, was it? Something like that, where we saw absolute decimation of our cows, and there were those awful heaps. It says here, impacts to Great Britain. FMD is highly contagious viral disease of cattle, sheep, pigs, and other cloven-hooved animals. It causes very significant economic losses due to the production losses in affected animals and due to the loss of assessment to foreign markets for animals, meal, and milk. And so is that likely to be the thing that they are pumping up? Let's go back on to Lorraine's email then. And she says, I have just had a conversation with a local farmer, and he said he used to be on the kill team for the foot and mouth outbreak in 2001. And he's just had a phone call to be on standby for another kill team for potential foot and mouth outbreak again. They are prepping kill teams for foot and mouth outbreak. So again, we don't have the problem, but they're getting ready because they think that this might happen. So there you have it. The evil and the lies continue. And they may be out to decimate farmers again to the point of suicide, as happened before. They want the land. They'll do anything to get it. And believe me when I say this, that Jeremy Clarkson will not help anyone, for he did a deal with the devil in all of this. This is evil in the making, no doubt in my mind, and the sleepers sleep and the farmers, God bless them, are absolutely oblivious to the lies they are told. Kind regards from Lorraine. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for passing that on. And this is the worry. We know they're after the dairy industry and the beef industry. We've heard them how they're putting in that Bovaer stuff into milk. They want you to have, if you're going to drink milk, not raw milk, where all the goodness is in the milk. And now they want to get rid of cows because they do not want us to eat proper meat, because of course it's so beneficial to us. It's got so many goodness in it. They want to get rid of all of that industry, and they're doing their utmost. They're at their end, by the way, these evil satanic people. They're right at the end of their time, and so they're throwing everything they can. But of course, farmers, unless they are aware of this and look at these tests, particularly whatever tests they are, if it's a PCR test, you can throw that in the bin. We know what that was like during the pandemic. But of course, unless farmers stand up for themselves and become sovereign individuals and push back, then again, they'll allow legislation, this man-made concept, to overrun them and take away their farm and destroy and make them bankrupt, which is what they want. We know that this is what is going on. So we need to call it out, because that's the only way we can stop it. If the rest of the world know what's going on, say, no, actually, we know that this is a con. We know this is fraud. We know you're making it all up. You've got your plans. We've seen it all happen before. We know how your playbook works. We're not having it, thanks very much. And that is one of the ways that they will create food shortages for us unless we stand up. Now, there's a lot of people out there, if I put something up about food shortages, go, yeah, no, I just go to the supermarket and get anything. Even if you continue to eat at the supermarket, at that nutrient-free, vitamin-deficient food that they put on the shelves in the colourful boxes and make it look nice, even if you continue to go there, without meat, they won't have anything. You'll be eating worms and you'll be eating horrible things. Or will you be eating super pigs? Let's have a quick look at the super pigs, because I was sent this also today, or in fact yesterday as I am recording this. 14,000 pigs and 714,000 hens, a mega farm causing uproar in a quiet rural community. So here's some people who are saying, look, hang on a minute, we don't want that. We want more local farms, smaller farms. Blink and you'll miss the white laminated single sheets of A4 paper tied to a gateway. It says next to the B1112 on the outskirts of Breckland Village in Methwold. It shows the details of a planning application, and it's only visible, hint, at this spot, this quiet rural community in the worlds of its local MP, is currently in uproar over its contents. The desire to build on the farm's doorstep what is claimed to be Britain's biggest mega farm, where 14,000 pigs and 714,000 hens will be reared indoors. Yes, this is in Norfolk. Now, whilst we're on the one hand, we want more farms and we want farmers to produce animals, and we don't want them being decimated or obliterated, as is what the globalists would like, as we saw just now in that email from Lorraine. At the same time, we don't want these big corporate dead entity, massive mega farms that produce huge numbers of animals in what? A very holistic way, do you think? A very caring, wholesome way? I don't think so. Industrial farming at that sort of scale, I mean, that is a massive scale, is not going to be very pleasant to look, to work at, but for the animals, it's going to be absolutely disastrous and there'll be no respect whatsoever. You can see it, can't you? And who is going to want to eat that kind of meat that has been fed basically with the barest minimum of minerals and things in order to fatten them up and to supply supermarkets? It's not the type of farming that we want to see. It should not happen. More local farms, locally produced, that people can go round and see how the animals are reared and cared for is what we need, not this sort of mega rubbish. So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I go, just one very quick thing I want to point out. This is from Alternative News, and they're worried that the event industry is struggling. And we go to a number of events, Julia and I, and you may visit some of these events that we put on to try and get the truth out there. And here's just a plea to help keep the UK events alive. The events history in the UK is under threat. At AV, we're hearing of other event organisers not doing events this year down to the poor economy. This is where you can meet like-minded people, discuss things, make friends, talk and meet the speakers and ask them questions which perhaps they would not be able to answer by email or have refused to answer, and you can put them on the spot. It's so important that these events go place. You can actually decide for yourself whether they're talking truth, whether they're real, whether they're the hired help of the WHO and all of that, or the globalists' puppets or whatever. These are very important that we go to these events and appear. I think it's absolutely vital. Now, there's a lot of YouTube presenters who you never see at events. You never see at these events, or you can't get near to. They're almost like superstars. Me, people can come up and prod me and talk to me and ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer them. This is why we need to keep the events industry alive. And AV is simply saying, if you can support the live events, please do. It's absolutely vital. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you coming along. Thanks to everybody who supports this channel and keeps it alive. Your donations really do make a difference. It enables me to keep this going and to share your stories with everybody, and we will push back together. Till next time, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.